Nyata living des. 2 minutes. Wow, what a rainy evening in the Gambia. I just got in. Don't face the AC boy, man. You try help. Got into the rain. John Charles Njai is on his way, and hopefully he'll be here with us shortly. So bear with us as we get our bearings in order to kickstart another episode of Straight Talk with West Coast Radio. I know. Yeah. Hello guys. We're about to start, waiting on the commercials to just
Ghana, Nigeria, and Senegal, jàngale computer, music, I love to baax ci def science ak lu bëri kaay bind léegi ci place yi ko gannaaw ko nawet power station bay kama santa sosisou tali ma ak marakisa o yuzu
guy, what a heavy rainy day or evening. I know I was stuck, but thank God I'm here. We got a minute to go, huh? Okay, good to go.
Good evening, listeners. Welcome to another evening of Straight Talk. This is a very rainy evening.
I nearly got late into the studios.
But it's always good to be back here, engaging with the citizenry, engaging with you, lovely listeners. As you enjoy the rain, please join us on this important program on Straight Talk, just talking about issues that affect us, affect our lives, and affect our nation. We keep saying that we want to try to continue having a civil discussion on the issues and how can we as a people come up with the ideas, and hope that also those that are in a position to do something about our problems and the problems we face as a nation will do so. And it's always good to be here. The lines will be open on the half-hour mark, so please join us. Mr. Jai, once again, welcome to Straight Talk. Another lovely evening to be with our good people.
Thank you so much. Good evening, listeners and people following us via our stream on Facebook. It's a great evening in the Gambia, albeit rainy. And traffic is real bad. And this is off-peak hours because people are already home, but it shows you the congestion that this country is going through. And I think it's high time. I really want to make a plea that the government need a Department of Urban Management. Gambia is not the Gambia of 1960s, 1970. We've had a growth in population, an explosion of population because of the Sierra Leone conflict, the Guinea issue, the Liberia issue, and the repatriated Gambians coming back home. But unfortunately, I must say, the government is not understanding the demography, and the need of this demography.
Okay.
Gambia happens to have a ticking time bomb, and this ticking time bomb is a youthful population without hope, without a promise of a better future, and also led by a group of people who are indifferent to the plight of Gambians, not only the youth, but Gambians at large, if you look at our infrastructure, our education system, and our healthcare.
Okay. Well, it's good that we are having this discussion, because I think 2 weeks back we started a discussion, are we moving forward as a country? And you had your ideas, some other people, some other callers said we are moving. And today let's look at in which areas are we moving, or in which areas are we not moving, or are we going back? Because it is important for us to have a look at where we are as a nation. This is not just talk, but it's the reality that we face, is the pain, is the disappointment, is the frustration of our youth that are maybe gone through the educational system and yet they don't have jobs and things like that. So, Mr. Njai, you said that we are not moving forward. But today I learned that there is an access to information law now. Is that not opening government to be more transparent? Is that not part of the legal reforms that we are promised? And will that not help strengthen our democracy? Is that not progress?
Oh, welcome to Gambia once again. NAWEC is off, but albeit we are on a standby generator, so hopefully in the next 2-3 minutes we'll be live back on air. But for those following us on Facebook, we are still going because our phones are on batteries and we are on 4G. Thank God the generator is on, and hopefully we'll be back. Gambia is not moving forward, and this is a clear testament that the country is not moving forward. In 1977, we happened, like I said, are we back on air? Gambia is not moving forward, Mr. Njai.
Sorry for the break in transmission.
Yes. Mr. Njai, Gambia is not moving forward, and this is a clear testament that the country is not moving forward. NAWEC got their problems in 1977. To date, these problems haven't been solved because of corruption. Yaya Jammeh is gone, but the procurement process embedded in NAWEC, especially for heavy fuel, spare parts and lubricant, is more decadent today than it has ever been. The reason this country cannot move forward is not the instruments. You just told me that we now have a passage, a law that's being passed, Freedom of Information Act, right?
Yeah.
What is Freedom of Information Act if the people who are going to make these things happen are not committed to transparency? See, a law is as good as the very people who administer the law. We have good laws in our book, albeit we have faulty instruments in our books, but generally Gambia happens to have good laws. Case in point, look at what's happening at KMC. Law or without law, there is what you call conscience, morality, and good governance. Yeah. It's a shame that a branch of our government will stand in front of people to shortchange the taxpayers of KMC and the residents of KMC from doing the right thing. That's number one. Number two, Mr. Njai, leadership is everything in a country. It was appalling to see the President of the Republic going last Friday to visit roads that are not even built yet, roads where the contractor is even yet to mobilize, roads where the contract is yet to be awarded. You have a technical team.
So what was the visit about?
Well, this is the sad bit. The president thinks the presidency is about politics. The presidency is about transformation, changing lives, and making the lives and livelihoods of Gambians better.
Okay, before you go further, Mr. Njai, you talked about the issue of KMC as a case in point that even there is law and there is morality. But KMC has now taken some legal steps. And this is why I'm saying that possibly the framework of the law, even when you have people unwilling to go with the law, but once the framework is there and you could test our democracy in the courts, I think that would help to a large extent. So even if you have an access to information bill, a law, and you get to a place where you need information that should be given out, and it's not given out, you could always go to the Access to Information Commission and lodge your complaint. If nothing is done, then even the commission can be taken to court.
I'm glad you mentioned a commission. You know what that means? Fiscal resources.
Yeah.
They need office, they need manpower, they need equipment.
Yeah.
You name it. These are monies.
Yeah.
It wasn't budgeted in 2021.
No, there is a grace period for it to be now.
But hold on. See, administrations, they know what to do to delay, deter, and frustrate things they don't like. Tomorrow, in October, there'll be a call circular out. The call circular will basically tell ministries to bring the resources that they will need for fiscal 2022.
Yeah.
It's now up to the Ministry of Finance to say, here is the cake, this is what we can do. This government, let us be honest, they don't have interest in the instruments of state that's going to make this country better. Allow me, infrastructure is good.
How would you say
Let
that
me come. Let me come.
The same government
Let me
push
come.
for this law to be passed?
Let me come, please. Infrastructure is good. We have seen the commitment of this government in terms of financing infrastructure to the point that they will put debt in the throats of Gambians that is not sustainable as it relates to government being able to pay for it. The logic behind building infrastructure is called the principle of self-sustainability. Meaning, if the government put 100 million out today, it should have a ways and means of collecting money to pay for the debt. If not, they should find long-term financial solutions. They don't have long-term financial solutions. What they have is a quick fix. Treasury bills and also the BP money that the government of the Gambia received, which is not owned by my generation and your generation alone. This is a natural resource that's depletable, and future generations of Gambians happen to have a share in that. What if the Gambia happens not to find oil and those were the only proceeds of petroleum that this country ever received? It's already been spent. It was spent before it even went to Parliament.
Yeah, but Mr. Jai, if we zero in on, the government can say that showing their commitment to stop human rights abuses in this country, they have established a Human Rights Commission. It is functioning, it is being resourced through government and other means, but it is doing its work. So if the government says, well, we now have an access to information law, we want to be transparent, we want to be accountable to you, the taxpayers.
Okay.
Now, is it not also only right that we give them the benefit of the doubt? We look at what the law says, when the structure should be put in place, and also put pressure for that to happen so that we have a more transparent government.
Mr. Jan, I am not a medical doctor. But the little science I did in high school, there is what you call primary and preventive medical or healthcare. Now you're talking about the Human Rights Commission. The Human Rights Commission must deal with preventive issues. Yeah, the primary issues of human rights must be dealt with by the government. And if the government have the guts and audacity to bring back Gorgimbo back in office, tell me whether that government is committed to human rights. You see, the Human Rights Commission, the Human Rights Commission is the door of last resort for people who are aggrieved. But we should not wait until people die and people are abused. The government must be committed to good governance, the rule of law, and also transparency, with or without a legal instrument. My point is, I don't care how legal instruments are. If the people are not committed, are not serious, are not genuine We had a transitional government, right?
Yeah.
He clearly spelled out, Mr. President, what we should have achieved in 36 months. We even said, no problem, do it in 60 months. Now, do a fact check.
Yeah.
Do an analysis and see whether we, as a country, have achieved 20% of what we set out to do December 4th, 2016.
Okay, now we have an issue where we have the laws, and in some instances where the laws were tested, for instance, the president whether revoked or rescinded the nomination of Yakuba, but because of the laws and because of the courts, the president could not prevail over that. He could not have his way. So that's what I'm saying, that if the laws are there and they are tested, is that not progress? Is that not part of building our democracy?
You know what is progress?
Movement?
You know what is progress? Commitment to uphold.
But even if they fail to commit, if they fail, Mr. Njai, to obey the law, we have a place to test them and force them to commit.
But you need to understand that that place is a process.
I agree.
Gambia doesn't have time. Because, you know, let us be honest about one thing. Gambia needs leaders who are committed to the transformation of this country and also the upliftment of the lives and livelihood of the citizens of this country. If not, our efforts will be futile. If not, we, my generation and yours, will hand a worse Gambia to the next generation than our forefathers gave us. Let us be honest with one thing. Collectively as a people, we need attitudinal change. Collectively as a people, we need some cultural reorientation to know that the total sum of Gambia is greater than one, is greater than our personal self-interest. And also, even if our personal self-interest is served, when the greater goods interest is not served, i.e. NAWEC, i.e. the roads, the education, the healthcare, it becomes a zero-sum game for everyone, including the people who have been pilfering the resources of the Commonwealth.
All right. Looking at the issues you're raising, in the health sector, how, if you were grading, where would we be?
We are worse off today. There is what you call consumables, gloves, band-aids, the simple things. I'm not even talking about x-ray machine, CAT scans, MRIs. The bare basic of just running primary health care. This government is faltering and faltering seriously.
Is it a matter of this government not knowing its priorities? Because I just read that, is it 80 or so ambulances will be distributed to all regions? Is it a matter of not prioritizing, because you have this investment in ambulances and we are still struggling to have the basic consumables?
You need to understand one thing, the mind of a criminal. The consumables, you cannot stop them long term because they have dates. So this government has spent more on capital expenditure. What is capital expenditure? Big ticket items like building roads, buying cars. That's where the fat is, and that's where the kickbacks are. Let us call a spade. This is not politics. I'm not a politician. But we, the people of this country, need to wake up that what the Wolof say, Segal Mawarla, is what this administration has done to the people. But the government will say you have no evidence of kickbacks being given. I don't need evidence. All I can tell you is look at the Banjul rehabilitation project. Look at the cost per kilometer.
In fact, I saw something. What was the? Can you break down that analysis that was given?
Look, it's very simple. When you're doing costing for roads, I told you earlier in the show that the first thing you do when you're doing capital expenditure, you do a cost-benefit analysis. If you do a cost-benefit analysis, you say that if I spend 10, I'm going to reduce traffic. Business flow into Banjul will increase. Tax collected by the municipality will go up. Then you said, how am I going to finance it? That is very important. And the fourth thing, the best option, the best scenario is to have a self-liquidating mechanism whereby what you plow in as finances to a large extent will be recovered. But now if you don't have that, you need what you call medium to long-term structures. And that's why if you look at the road constructions in the Gambia over the years, it has been financed by multilateral agencies. Why? Multilateral agencies have what you call soft money. What is soft money? The concessions are very high. First, they'll give you, let's say, $40 million today. You don't have to pay for the next 10 years. And you know what? You're paying LIBOR plus. You're paying an interest rate of 3%. You know what that means? You have breathing space to reorganize your finances as a state. The state is just a bigger household. But this bigger household need people who are prudent, frugal, responsible, and conscientious.
So that was not the case in the Banyo Road?
Yes, because you know what they did? And I will tell you. They signed a contract. They told you and I, it's pre-finance. You know what's pre-finance? You pay for it as a contractor, I'll pay you later. Today, if you look at all the sums of money paid to this contractor, relative to what is left, I'm sure the contractor has received more than 45%, and maybe he has finished 75% of the work. That is not pre-financing, and that is not good for the cash flow management of this country. And you know what? When Nyang Jai and the likes of Nyang Jai speak, we don't hate the people running the affairs of this state. They're not only reckless, but they're indifferent to the plight of the people in Balanga, in Fajara, and elsewhere in the Gambia. And that is a shame. But to make matters worse, the average Gambian run after these people. Unbeknown to them, they're being fleeced on a daily basis.
Interesting. And we are coming, getting into elections soon, and you will see, obviously, the people running behind politicians for whatever reasons. So you are justified in the sense that our health, we are not doing well. We are going back, if anything,
you see,
rather than going forward.
Nyang Jai is an economist. Economists just don't talk out in the air without basis. I will look at statistics. How many people have gone to the hospitals and didn't get out of the hospitals? How many people got into a hospital with one ailment and ended up leaving the hospital with 5 complications?
Or leaving dead.
Well, that's what I'm saying. When you get in and you don't get out, it's called DOA, dead on arrival, or whatever, dead on premise, whatever you want to call it. But the point I am trying to make it, maternal mortality rates are mounting in this country. And also, you know, our lawyers need to start looking at medical malpractice. People are going to our hospitals and dying out of negligence and dying because we have doctors. They may have good classroom education, but they lack the required apprenticeship to handle certain sophisticated procedures. Secondly, the equipment that is available to the hospital. Thirdly, the environment that these patients are put through. Look, this country,
this is why maybe
this country needs tort reform so that we can start suing people and suing them heftily, including the government.
But you see, but this is also the issue with the country. Because countries that progress, the citizenry can take their destiny in their hands. That we are the ones that are dying. I'm not going to wait for government to do ABC. If there is negligence, I'm going to sue the practitioners. So
can you sue NAWEC for blowing your TV,
but
your
NAWEC,
freezer?
I learned NAWEC has a...
It's nonsense. I'm saying, and this is what Pura. You see, my point here is, government have institutions. These institutions should protect the greater good's interest. Why is Pura not doing 3 things with NAWEC, GAMTEL, and all the telcos? Service level agreement.
Okay.
If in a 24-hour period you give me 4 hours of electricity, my tariff should change for how much I should pay. And if I happen to have a generator in my house and I turn it on, the meter should start reversing, meaning now it owe me credit because I'm but these, you're not doing it because you want to empower the consumer. You're doing it to make a deterrent so that companies like NAWEC will do the right thing for the consumers that are giving them money for a service.
Is it not just simply
the telcos
to privatize
No, it's not about privatization. You see, I
yeah,
think...
because people have this thing that once you're working in a public service, parastatal, it's not yours, it's government, so people can do anything.
No.
But if it's privatized,
even
then
without...
maybe efficiency would be
But
enhanced.
you need to understand one thing. The first principle, once again, back to economics. Government should not be in the business of business. But in as much as... Allow me. No. Allow me. In as much as that principle holds, there is a caveat. The caveat is there are certain businesses nobody wants to get into because it's more of a social service and there is no money in it. And that's why public enterprises should be. In 1996, 97, cellular telephony started. No company wanted to invest, and that's why we had Gamcell. Yeah. The time has come to phase out Gamcell and sell it off, because the need for government to be in business as it relates to telecom is no longer a necessity. Okay. The telecommunication space has been taken over. Okay. NOEC, the government need to sit down and say, electricity has three components: transmission, generation, and distribution. No, transmission and distribution, generation and billing. Let government own all the power lines in the company. And even tell a company that just wants to operate in Fajara, put your generators where you can find space with limited noise and supply Fajara. Now it will connect you to their grid with a master meter, and you send them a bill end of month, and what they have collected from the residents of Fajara, they will pay you. And that's what an IPP is, independent power production. Then it frees up government. You don't have to give out guarantees. Look, we can fix our country, but we can only fix our country when we have people who are serious and have the country at heart. We have people who are educated in government today, but they lack conscience, scruples.
Is it not also that maybe they lack the ideas?
No, they don't. They know better.
So they know.
They know better. But a chaotic administrative environment is a recipe for corruption.
Okay.
And that's why our government is what it is. Go back to today, the digital world we're living in. Why is it that the government of the Gambia is still not a paperless government? Because they don't want tricks.
But I think
they've been working on this
e-government.
E-government. When I was in government in 2001, 2002, the e-government initiative was still there.
So
they have put VSATs at the...
IFMIS and everything. I thought they had made progress.
Look, what is IFMIS if it's not connected to the smallest outpost of GRA? You see, the government should be treated as a business. The profit is not cash, but social dividend to the people. We are the shareholders. We should have social dividend instead of liquid profit, cash. So the government must have a balance sheet. Every day, the government should know all its assets, all its outstanding liabilities. I can tell you today, if I walk to the Office of the Controller of Current Vehicles today, they don't even know all the vehicles owned by government, because the asset register is poor.
Indeed.
Yeah? You go to you go to the Ministry of Finance today, tell them, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, can you draw me a line to show me all your outstanding liabilities as at end of business today? And show me all the revenue collected.
Let's just look at this issue of vehicles. If government does not know how many vehicles it has, how can government really know how many vehicles are due for servicing? So it is, if people are corrupt, they could be putting ghost vehicles.
They don't need to put ghost vehicles in the system.
But that is possible.
Allow me, no. If you look at the budget, you see the budget has recurrent and development.
Yeah.
The recurrent budget is atrociously bloated.
Okay.
You have drivers who can stay a whole month without sitting on a steering wheel of a car and yet still being paid.
Indeed.
Now, this is why I'm saying that the government should look at government operations as a business, but instead of making money, they should give us social dividend. Why should the government of the Gambia not outsource all the cleaning of government buildings to private companies? Let those people pay taxes and employ people. We free up our pension. Why should government not give courier services to companies, sign non-disclosure agreement? They come to all government offices, collect envelopes and take them where they ought to take them.
And drivers also. Why
should government not give business to a human resource company to do the payroll of government? Look, governments all over the world have moved to what you call outsourcing. Gambia needs a radical change, and we need leadership that is ready to think out of the box and dare to be different, to say, Gambia, the government is a business, but it's not in the business of making money, but in the business of giving you value for money for services. Then, what next? Why should the government of the Gambia issue you a voter's card free of charge? And they are still telling you, pay for an ID card. We are in a digital world. One document can serve as your identity and your voters, so long as we can do what is called, it's a simple thing called coding. In the coding, you have your NIN, National Identity Number. In the NIN, they can add 4 index and say, this is your voter number. Then they add 2, this is your polling station. They add 1, this is your region. On the same card, without expiration, because I only expire when I die. So I want to know, where is the common sense in governance? Where is the common sense in administration? This is what pains Nyanjai.
This is what pains Nyanjai, and I'm sure this is what also upsets a lot of Gambians. Why can't we just have common sense in dealing with our issues as a nation, relieving people of the stress that they're going through because of inefficiency in our public services? We will open the lines now. Is Gambia going forward, or are we stagnated or backsliding like Michael Jackson? Where are we as a nation? Gambia, maybe the callers will give us.
If we are honest with ourselves, this country is worse off today than in 1970. Once again, I'm an economist. What we do, we look at figures. Look at our agricultural output. In the 70s, we were in the hundreds of thousands of tons as it relates to groundnut. Today, we're in double digits. You look at a census of farmers, we have less farmers today than ever before. You look at our re-export business in the 80s, it has dwindled significantly. You look at the efficiency of our port, it has dwindled significantly. You look at our current account, you look at our balance of payment account, this country has gotten worse. So for me, Nyanjai, I want to tell you one thing. The way we judge our country is by looking at our economic indices.
Well, callers, sorry, the media line has a problem. You could call 796-2727 or 3922-828. 796-2727 or 392-828.
By the way, we have lost 2 cash crops as a country. We used to grow sesame for exports. We used to grow cotton and had a cotton ginnery at Basse, no longer. So tell me whether this country is moving forward or going backward. River transport is dead.
Okay, listeners, you could call any of those lines, 796-2727 or 3922828. We have a call coming in. Hello? Yeah, you are calling?
We're having a slight difficulty trying to connect people online today, but yeah, like I said, it's very pathetic. It's very sad that we, the people of this country, are looking and our country is regressing and rolling back.
All right, we have a caller. All right, caller. Hello.
I guess you need to drop that and we take the next caller clean. Mr. Jai, we're losing time. Can you drop, we take the next caller? Let's just drop it, we take the next caller. We're losing time. Yeah, but we're losing time, sorry.
Hello, can you speak out loud, please?
Get the next caller, Mr. Jai.
Yeah, let me.
Let's just do that. We're wasting time. Sorry, caller. It's not our fault.
Please, when you call, you have to speak out so that we can get you.
And also put it on speaker, Mr. Njai. Yeah. So, guys, this is the problem this country is faced with.
Hello, good evening, caller. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I just want to say, there is no money in what Ganja is saying. It's very clear, very, very simple. Like he said, it last leaders have direction. You see, I once called in this program and told, you see, in the Ministry of Education, they are from but just to collect the cases. Why can't they legalize these things? Use your phone, type your employment number, and then you get your exemption. You can't just get anything, even the mayor problem. But these people, I don't know. That's the thing to talk to me.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, caller.
Thank you, caller.
Thank you. Well, thank you, caller.
But the caller is right, Mr. Njai. The problem with this country, we have educated people within the system, even Ivy League graduates.
Okay, we have another call.
Yeah.
Hello, good evening, caller.
Sorry, caller.
Good evening. Hello. Yes, go ahead.
Can tell him to reduce his rate.
Okay. Okay.
We need people who need to give love, who need to think for the best interest of our country.
Okay.
I agree with me here. We can't be expatriated and something otherwise.
Okay.
Our future generation is making change. We're making change. And that's what's good for the development of the country.
All right, good evening. Yeah, thank you, caller. Thank you. Okay, we lost that call. The numbers to call 7962727 or 3922828. We have a call coming in.
I really fear for this country because...
Good evening, caller. Yes, go ahead.
Thank you so much. I also want to participate in our government. It's not to get people have to consider when it comes in terms of government issues. You have to, decentralize, so that, a lot of problems will be eradicated. But like I said, we have intellectuals in our government. But the reason why they don't want to implement those policies because it's not still our money. Just imagine for the time of the day, this country is totally dormant. In terms of all areas you talk about in the government sector, it's totally dormant.
All right.
It's very sad. It's very, very sad, really, to think about the Gambia. It's a small country like Gambia. You cannot see any infrastructure, you cannot see any development, in terms of anything about it. It's very poor. It's very sad.
Okay. Thank you, caller.
That's the basic. To know...
Yes, good evening, caller. Fine, thank you.
Nyanja.
Yes.
Well, we are not paid to manage a page.
All right.
My brother, we are doing this free of charge. Nobody pays us.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
We're talking about the Bible project. So I was just astounded when I heard Pharaoh himself saying that OIC 50 kilometer road is costing $50 billion. If you do
Yes, it's correct.
Now, the Banjul road network is a 14-kilometer network of roads, regardless of whether it's crisscross or horizontal or vertical, whatever. So that 14-kilometer road should have been $14 million, isn't it?
No.
Well, Mr. Jai is the economist here. Maybe he can answer that.
I will come in.
Because what happened is, this thing was confirmed by the works minister 2 years ago.
But Banjul has the drainage and everything there.
Thank you.
No, even if you have the drainage, what is the drainage? Banjul is flooding right now.
All right.
The Banjul road is not building new roads, it's rehabilitating the roads.
Okay.
The OIC is building new roads.
Okay. Well,
It would have been more expensive than the OIC should have been more expensive than the Banjul roads.
okay. All
The
right.
Banjul road is $37.7 million, and they are still adding more. They added about 120 million, and also about another 70-something million.
Absolutely.
All right. Okay. All right. Thank you.
The gentleman is right. You see, a contract, a project has what you call scope and specification. Scope and specification. The scope of work for the Banjul Rehabilitation Project on paper calls for a lot of things. Sewage, drainage, roads.
Okay.
Now, concrete is cheaper than asphalt, by the way. And 99% of the roads in Banjul already have what you call a sub-base. I used to handle road contracts at some point for the Ministry of Finance using FIDIC methods of contracting. It is very simple. When you award a contract, the contractor cannot even scrape the road without a consultant coming in. When a consultant comes in, supervises the work of the contractor, then gives the contractor a certificate. That certificate is what the contractor presents to the paymaster, whoever is paying, then gets his money. The Banjul project started without consultancy supervision, and no one can challenge that, including the ministry. That was wrong.
Wow.
Number two, just using cement, sand, and basalt is cheap relative to compacting a road that didn't have a sub-base. To the OIC project, it was costed at average $1 million a kilometer. But what does this $1 million a kilometer comes with? It comes with amenities.
Okay.
At some point, the design called for a footpath. The design called for lights, paid for. The design called for an area to evacuate water, because we know that we have water issues along the Bertil Harding Highway.
Okay.
So it's, you know, the word roads is limited, but I think the scope is wider.
All right, let's take this call. Good evening, caller. Okay, we lost that call. Okay, the numbers to call 7962727 or 3922828. We have a call. Good evening, caller. Welcome. Good evening.
Speaker.
All right. Sorry, we are not hearing you. Good evening, caller. Yes. Jawai.
Wow, jaajëf. Waaw, ñu ngi laa déglu. Waaw. 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 Mënuma koo def nga baalal ma aar. Waaw. Waaw. Jërëjëf. Bugga naa ko waaye mënuma ko li tax mënuma ko dañ waaw waaw déedéet dégg naa laaka de loolu du suma problème waaye dañ dëkka ci dëkka boo xam ne dafa am complexities. The complexity of the country we live in a multi-ethnic country. I cannot just use my lingua franca, Wolof, to talk to everybody, because not everyone will understand. I am duty bound to communicate with Gambians, not Wolofs. And that's why I don't speak Wolof. And in one show, I cannot speak multiple languages. And I am not privy.
In fact, what I have thought about time and time again is having maybe the whole show translated in a language and then aired for other people. But also that is costly.
But you don't have the resources.
Well, that's it. Well, okay, they got it. Well, they got it. Well, they go halat.
Why? Hamga in 1 hour.
The thing is, well,
in 1 hour, mununyo lakapol, laka sose. Let's understand the constraints we're faced with as a nation. If we are in a country where Swahili is spoken, it becomes a lingua franca, everybody speaks it.
Yeah.
But this is a multi-ethnic country, and I cannot and I will not, because I want to be fair to every Gambian.
All right, good evening, caller. Welcome to Straight Talk.
Yeah, good evening, guys.
Yeah, good evening. Go ahead.
Yeah, just touching on the point that Yang mentioned earlier about the e-government that is not overdue. I believe, like you said, that's the recipe for corruption in this country. If we can at least, update things to a point where everything can be visible, we know where everything is. It will be difficult for people to start robbing the nation.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's Mr. Presidential Aspirant, Bankoli, right? Banky, at least you could have gotten a free ad by mentioning your name. We know it's you. Thank you for calling, though.
Indeed. Okay.
Thank you, guys, and good work and well done.
Wato Sita.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. All right. I think we have another call. We are out of time. Okay, sorry, callers. We are out of time. We will just wrap up this program here. Mr. Jai, you want to say? Sorry.
I think. Look, let us be serious. We all know the diagnosis of this country, but if we know that we have cancer and we are not willing to cut the cancer, I think we will get to a terminal stage. And the terminal stage is what I consider backwardness and lack of prosperity. So it's up to us Gambians, 2021 Gambian. I think we must be resolute, firm, and tell leaders, you do what we want or we put you out of office. And this particular administration, we need to do something about. Thank you, Gambian.
Well, in our subsequent programs, we will be looking at the topic, what kind of leader does Gambia need going forward as we go to elections. It is part of our duty to have this discussion and educate ourselves as the best way forward. Well, some say Gambia is not going forward, some say maybe we are going, some say we are stagnated, but we thank you all for calling. Every opinion here is cherished and respected, and we would want to keep this discussion going. And in your homes, wherever you are, keep talking so that we would move our country forward.
I just want to apologize to that caller that I'm not being insensitive when I say that I don't want to speak Wolof. I'm proud of my heritage, but Gambia doesn't belong to the Wolofs or the Mandinkas, it belongs to Gambians. Unfortunately, we have diversity as it relates to language. So what unifies us, unfortunately, is the colonial language. In as much as I hate it, that's where I find convergence with my fellow compatriots.
Well, listeners, until we come your way next week, this is the Jai team, Straight Talk team, John Jai and Mr. Nyanjai. Have a lovely evening, and God bless our